Cabbages go with the agroecological zones. We have different zones in Kenya, from the dryland zones to the highland zones, from the wet zones to the highland and dry zones. So cabbages do well in most of these regions, but it depends on which variety you pick. So for example, for Badea, we have a cabbage practa, which tolerates cold, very high, low temperatures. And again, it's strong on disease. So you'll find the higher you go, the more susceptible the crops are to diseases. So some of the cabbages you'll be seeing here are for those high areas where disease is a challenge, and therefore they need a product that can withstand such diseases. Then we have cabbages also for the warm, hot areas. You know, cabbage is a cold, ideally it's a cold crop. It does well in cold areas, but we found cabbages that are suitable for even the warmer areas. So these are for farmers who are in the lower parts of our country where the temperatures are up, they have fertile soils, but they want to grow cabbage. So we have varieties that do well in that region. Then we have also varieties that do well, targeted mainly for institutions. Say you want to sell your cabbage by the kilo. You have a market for a school, for a college, where they require cabbage in large quantities, and it's by the kg. Then we have cabbages that are suitable for that. For example, cabbage chairman F1. This is a very large cabbage doing up to 8 kilos per head, and suitable also for transporting over long distances, and it can hold in the field if you have to wait for the market. For example, the school gives you an order for next week, then your cabbage can be ready this week, and it can hold in the field for even up to 3 weeks while you wait for your order. The best practice dictates you start with the seed. Pick the right seed. Know which seed or variety that will do well in your area. Look at your soils. Now, today we're asking our farmers to test their soils, because our soils have been used over the years, and some of our soils are very deficient in one of the nutrients and very high in other nutrients because of overuse of fertilizer. So we advise our farmers today, once you've selected the seed, you know your region, you know the right seed, then now go ahead, test your soil, because going forward, nutrition will be key. So once you know the status of your soil in terms of the pH, acidity or alkalinity of the soil, you know what is deficient, whether it's high in phosphorus, how much nitrogen your soil has, and therefore how much nitrogen you need to add. It will help you in the long run to bring out the best cabbage. So for farmers, once they have tested their soil, also how you raise your seedlings. You know, between sowing the seed to transplanting, that is a very critical stage of a plant. Once you get it right there, the plant is strong. The plant has good standability, where once you transplant, you have a very good start for the cabbage. So today we're advising our farmers, instead of doing it on the normal ground nursery, we're advising them to go onto the seed tray. So that once you get very inert material on the seed tray, you'll be able to use a media that is very clean, free from any diseases, and you'll be able to have a very balanced nutrition as the crop starts. The soil is loose, the media is loose, and it will allow the roots to develop very fast and the plant to shoot. So once you have that done within 14 days, then you come to your farm to transplant. Now once you're at the farm, spacing is key. Like you realize this particular cabbage here requires 60 by 60 centimeter spacing. That cabbage over here will require maybe a 50 by 50 spacing. So if you know the size of head you're looking at, then you'll take the right spacing. So for chairman, you do 60 by 60 because this cabbage has the potential of going up to 8 kgs. For cabbage Gloria, you have a 4 to 5 kilo cabbage, so you want to reduce the space and have more heads in that same field. So for cabbage chairman, you have a potential of doing up to 12,000 heads per acre. For Gloria, you can do up to 15,000 heads per acre. So depending on where you are, depending on your mathematics, because today we are telling farmers cabbage farming is a business. You don't just want to do it. You want to know what output are you going to get. So in this acreage, you're doing 12,000. So if the market is 20 shillings, then you do 12,000 times 20, you have 240,000 as kind of the expected income. If you're doing 15,000 heads, then it's 15,000 times 20, then you're looking at about 300,000 shillings per acre. So those are important numbers that a farmer needs to look at as they engage or get into cabbage farming. The biggest challenge farmers have with is selection of seed. Like I said from the beginning, selection is key. Knowing your variety that you're going to plant, because that will determine the eventual output that you're going to get. Number two is the nutrition. How do you feed your crop? Because like I said, when your soils are lacking in some of the nutrients, our farmers traditionally just apply DAP. Tunaambiana tu DAP ndio mbolea ya kupanda na CAN ndio una top dress. And over the years, that is the story. DAP, panda, CAN, top dress. So you find you overload your soils with acidity. You find DAP is very high in the P, and therefore, over time, the phosphorus levels in the soil build up, and that will end up affecting the growth of the plant. So if a farmer tests his soil, he will be able to know which variety to pick, which fertilizer to use. Today, for vegetables, there are more improved fertilizers, very specific to the crop and very specific to the soils, how your soils are. So you can give the right quantity of fertilizer for your cabbage. So once you test your soil, you'll be able to know which and how much of fertilizer to apply, and that will help you manage on the costs. Then number 3 comes to pest management. Cabbages, just like any other plant, will be affected by pests, and therefore a farmer needs to know exactly what chemical to apply and when to apply it, and also monitoring of that field. We have a pest, a very common pest for cabbage called diamond backmoth, and diamond backmoth DBM is once a farmer is late in managing it, it goes on to affect the produce at the end of the season. So pest management is key, as well as selection of seed and nutrition as the key main problems that a farmer needs to look out for. Yeah. Cabbage, any day you have it, you'll sell it. It's one of those most popular vegetables in Kenya. We consume it right across from Mombasa to Kisumu to Lodwar, and this cabbage will transport as far as you want it to go. Know your cabbage. We have cabbages that do even as early as 60 days. That is cabbage Polo F1. So 2 months, you have your cabbage. We have cabbages for the hot areas. This is cabbage Chairman. And we also have cabbage Gloria. These ones do also extremely well with high temperatures. Then we have cold area cabbages. We have cabbage Proctor F1 and we have cabbage Queen F1. Very ideal cabbages for cold areas. And also cabbages that are green inside. You find the monotony of the white cabbage, which is Gloria, is being broken by the Chairman and Queen F1, which are green inside. So these cabbages come in different attributes, and therefore, once you know the attribute, you know your market, then you're good to go.